Okay, let's jump right into this explainer. Today, we're unpacking a really dense but honestly absolutely fascinating part of Philip Kotler's Marketing Management 17th edition. Specifically, we're diving deep into Chapter 12, Managing Marketing Communications. You know, for marketers, the big question isn't whether to communicate, it's what to say, how to say it, to whom, and exactly when. So what we're mapping out today is essentially the ultimate blueprint for building powerful, effective communication campaigns that actually break through the noise and reach your customers. Now, you've probably heard this famous quote by department store magnate John Wanamaker. We're starting here because it perfectly highlights a universal struggle in business. I mean, for decades, companies have just poured millions into ads, basically crossing their fingers without truly knowing what works. But, well, times have changed. In this explainer, I'm going to show you exactly how modern marketers use structured frameworks to evaluate, measure, and ultimately eliminate that dreaded waste.
So here's our blueprint for today. We'll hit the communication process, objectives and budgets, crafting the message, selecting marketing media, measuring campaign effectiveness, and finally, our key takeaways. Let's get to it.
Section 1. The communication process, moving consumers to action. Let's look at how a message actually lands with a consumer out there in the real world.
Think about the last time you bought a car versus, say, a box of salt. Totally different vibe, right? For high-involvement items like a car, where there are huge differences between brands, you naturally go through a learn, feel, do sequence. You gather facts first, form an emotional preference, and then take action. But what about airline tickets? Also high involvement, but people often see very little difference between carriers. That actually triggers a do, feel, learn sequence. And for low-involvement stuff, like salt or batteries, it's just learn, do, feel. By choosing the sequence that fits your specific product, you can map your communications perfectly to guide the consumer along their unique journey.
Section 2. Objectives and budgets, setting the foundation. Once we understand our consumers, we absolutely have to define our goals and our budget. A core objective here is building brand equity through awareness, and that really comes in two distinct flavors. Brand recognition is when you instantly spot a distinct logo on a super crowded supermarket shelf. That is vital when the consumer is making a choice inside the store. Brand recall, on the other hand, is when you remember a brand from memory, completely outside the store when a need suddenly pops up. Both of these provide the essential foundation for consumers to eventually pull the trigger and make a purchase.
Now, here's the thing. Action-focused communication faces a massive math problem. To put this into perspective, in any given week, maybe 20% of adults are out hunting for a detergent, but only 2% are looking for a carpet cleaner, and a tiny 0.25% are looking for a car. That means almost 100% of your audience simply doesn't care yet. This is exactly why targeted messaging is critical, and why establishing your brand's presence long before the consumer actually needs the product is vital for survival.
So, to solve that math problem, companies use objective and task budgeting. Basically, you define your goals, figure out the tasks to hit them, and tally up the costs. But your budget is heavily dictated by 4 market realities. For example, launching a brand new product, you're going to need a massive budget to build awareness. Got a highly complex message? That requires more repetition, which obviously costs more money. And if you're in a hyper-competitive market with low differentiation, like soft drinks, you'll have to spend significantly more just to carve out a unique image.
Section 3. Crafting the message. The big idea. With the budget set, we move to the fun part, designing a message that cuts through the clutter.
Marketers have to choose their creative strategy incredibly carefully. An informational appeal is like a tech company listing the exact specs and battery life of a new phone. It speaks directly to the logical brain, assuming the consumer is processing the ads strictly rationally. A transformational appeal, though, that's your high-end fragrance ad designed to make you feel sophisticated and alluring. It attempts to stir up powerful emotions to motivate a purchase. The real magic of advertising is bringing abstract concepts to life by picking the absolute perfect strategy for your product.
Actually, scratch that. It's not just what you say. It's who says it. The credibility of your message source is a huge deal. Whether you're using a massive celebrity or a relatable everyday person, the most credible sources have to score high on all 3 of these dimensions. They need expertise, meaning specialized knowledge. They need trustworthiness, so they're seen as objective and honest. And they need likability, meaning they appeal to the audience through humor, candor, or just plain naturalness.
Section 4. Selecting marketing media, delivering the message. We've got our message and a credible source. Next up, deciding exactly where to broadcast it.
Today's media landscape is, well,
It's incredibly fragmented. Consumers don't just see one type of ad anymore. They experience a brand through a vast matrix of touchpoints. You've got to balance paid media, where you pay a fee for placement, owned media, like your own website, earned media, which is the absolute gold standard of credibility since it's voluntary word of mouth or PR, and shared media, which is the content you post on social channels to engage your community. A truly successful campaign strategically blends all four of these. And when you're allocating your budget across those channels, it's a constant trade-off. Audience awareness hinges on three variables: reach, how many different people see it; frequency, how many times you repeat it to the average person; and impact, the qualitative value of the context. An ad for gourmet food has way more impact in a culinary magazine than in a generic business journal, right? Reach is vital for new products, for sure, but frequency is absolutely crucial when you have strong competitors, simply because consumers forget things very quickly. Beyond placement, timing is literally everything. Advertisers make both macro and micro scheduling decisions. Macro scheduling means looking at the entire year. If 70% of your sales hit in the summer, do you blow your budget right before summer or keep it steady year-round? Micro scheduling is about the day-to-day bursts. Do you run ads continuously? Do you concentrate them into a massive event like the Super Bowl? Or do you use flighting, running ads, going totally dark, then coming back? You have to perfectly align these schedules with how your consumers actually buy.
Section 5. Measuring campaign effectiveness. Did it work? We spent the money, we scheduled the ads, but senior leadership is definitely going to ask for the outcomes.
So here is the ultimate checklist for evaluating any creative execution. Every ad should be judged against these 6 criteria. Does it grab attention? Does it have distinction from the competition? Is the positioning right? Is there linkage? Meaning, will they remember it's an ad for your brand and not some competitor? What's the amplification? Are the consumer's thoughts positive? And finally, net equity. Does the ad actually fit with the brand's established heritage? If an ad fails these checks, you're just not moving the needle.
Ultimately, you have to measure effectiveness from both sides of the equation. Supply-side metrics just tell you if you got the exposure you paid for. Did the ad run? Did the PR campaign get press clippings? But demand-side metrics, that is where the rubber meets the road. This measures the real effect on the target audience. Did they actually buy the product? Did they talk about it with their friends? That's how you prove your share of voice actually translated into a share of the market.
Section 6. Key takeaways. The blueprint summarized. Let's wrap up this explainer by locking in the most critical takeaways from Kotler's Chapter 12.
If you remember absolutely nothing else from today, take away this triad. Successful marketing communications isn't just throwing money at the wall to see what sticks. It requires strategically aligning your business objectives with exactly what to say, determining the perfect creative strategy for how to say it, and choosing a highly credible source to deliver it. Get these 3 things right, and you will cut right through the noise.
I'll leave you with a bit of a challenge. The next time an ad crosses your screen, whether you're scrolling on your phone or watching TV, put it to the test. Analyze it. Ask yourself if it truly hits those 6 dimensions of effectiveness we talked about, or if it's just adding to the clutter and becoming part of John Wanamaker's wasted half. Keep that in mind, and I promise you'll start seeing marketing communications in a whole new light.